Hiahi, o te rā kia koutou, nau mai, hara mai, tēnā koutou, pai te tutaki a koutou I tēnei rangi. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much, Matthew, for opening our hui today with your karakia. Beautiful, and really appreciate it, but also just bringing the space together. Not short, we'll still go through the time, but although there's just a few of us, super excited to see what magic comes out of today's kōrero. And nice to meet you all. Ko wai au, ko Maarie Mareikura Ellery tōku ingoa, I te tau tōku mama, hiru no te autiaroa nui a paparangi me ngā tirangi me hokianga hoki. I te tau tōku papa, huru no te aitanga a mahaki me kōmo hoki. He wāhine aho, I use she, her pronouns, and I have the privilege of working at Mana Taiohi as I can't even remember my actual work title, but I would look after our Sport NZ contract and partnership that we have with Ihi Aotearoa, specifically within the active rec team there. And that's how I'm here today. Got the hit up from Matthew just to be like, would you be keen to run like a Mana Taiohi kōrero? I was like, yeah, always keen to talk about Mana Taiohi. So no mai, hara mai, it is a small rōpū today. So definitely keen to take it at your pace. Feel free to keep the cameras off, but there might be some moments where we'll have to jump in the chat or you can unmute. But yeah, we'll get into that a little bit soon. Cool. Can everyone see the slides? And it should be looking good, beautiful, sweet. Okay. Next up. So yeah, I work for Mana Taiohi, who are the peak body of youth development here in Aotearoa. Really big scope that we have, but essentially we want to support the people working with young people. So a lot of times people think that's just youth workers and social workers, but actually if your role connects with Taiohi, you're then included in part of our sector. While we do support youth workers and supporting that to be a recognised career path, same as social workers, we do also just encompass nurses, doctors, health coaches, PTs, all of those people. So that's who we are. We run trainings, so Mana Taiohi Code of Ethics, and we have lots and lots of resources on our website. And I'm just going to grab the link for that so y'all can have that. But essentially, anything to support young people within the youth sector, that is what we get up to. So feel free to have a look at our website if you are keen on doing that. Before we get started, I'm keen as to jump into a bit of whakawhanaungatanga. So I've just got some 3-partai. So I can see your names. So that's great. So we'll still do that though. What is your name? Where are you from? No hea koe. And kei hea koe e mahi ana, where do you work and what is your work? Feel free to chuck it in the chat. If you are wanting to unmute as well, feel free to unmute. But I'll just go through quickly so then you've got some time to type it and whatnot. So kia ora everyone, my name's Maarie. That's not actually my full name, but I like to go by Maarie to the public. And I'm from Whanganui up north in the East Coast, but I currently live here in Pōneke. And I work at Mana Taiohi half of my time. And for the other half, I'm a youth coach at Evolve Wellington Youth Service, which is a youth one-stop shop. And we provide free healthcare for Taiohi aged 10 to 24. So quite a broad range, but also very important to support young people in the full wraparound. So that's what I do during my time. And I do some other little things on the side too. Is anyone keen to jump up and speak, or are we just keen to use the chat? Graham.
Since I've got my video on, I might as well. Kia ora, so I'm Graham Witts. I work with Matthew at Nuku'ora. So based here in Wellington, and yeah, my role includes working with coaches, coach developers, and anyone involved in trying to create a quality experience for rangatahi playing sport. So this is all very pertinent information.
Yes, that's awesome. Big role.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Tēnā koe, Graham. Thank you so much. The whānau, Liz, kia ora.
Kia ora. I thought might as well, instead of typing it out, since Graham took the lead and chatted. So kia ora, Liz Worthington. So I was born and bred up in Harara, so not far from Wanganui, but live down now in Otatahi, so in Christchurch. And I work for Basketball New Zealand in the women and girls space, with leading the national portfolio for female leadership. So was just on this morning's chat on the Hini Maniwaro, and they said that this webinar was coming up at lunch, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, in terms of just looking at how we can better what we do in our different spaces. So yeah, thought I'd jump on and join and see what you've got to share.
Oh, tēnā koe. Kia ora, Liz. Excited to have you here. Kia ora, thank you. Kerry, following suit.
Kia ora, ko Kerry Takuinua. I was the same as Liz, actually. I was on that same call this morning and just saw this, actually, and I thought, I wondered if I had time to get on and just wanted to see what it was all about. I'm actually from Ōtepoti.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm the women and girls lead for Otago cricket, and so working with the rangatahi females to try and get them involved more in playing cricket.
Cool. Yeah. Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming on and for everyone coming in and making space for this. Today's kōrero is going to be about Mana Taiohi, which is the youth development principles of Aotearoa. And yeah, since it's a small group, I feel like we can also be like, can kind of just flow wherever it needs to. So any partai, any questions at any point, chuck them in the chat or just unmute. First activity we're going to do, whānau, we're going to jump straight into activity. So I hope you have a pen or something, maybe your phone to take notes. But what I would love for everyone to do is to draw a picture. You can write words. If you're a bit of an artistic person, you can draw describing or relating to a positive physical exercise experience to you. So we'll have like a couple of minutes to do that. So just think of a positive physical exercise experience you had when you were a young person. Cool. So we take our minds back, draw it for us. You're not going to show unless you want to. But yeah, it's going to be your little. You can also just take notes about it. We have a couple minutes for this. Awesome. So thinking of that experience, also wanting to think who was important during that time, or what was important, what made it a positive experience. Awesome. We'll go one more minute. Ka pai, how are we going? We've got some Picasso pieces right there that we can sell. That's all good. It's all good if we get the chance to draw. Are we feeling like happy and confident enough to just share a little bit about those experiences, whānau? Cool. Awesome. So I'll leave the floor open. Whoever wants to jump in and start, just take us into that time with you.
You can go first. I did draw a little picture. I don't know if it'll come up on the camera. Maybe not. It's too fuzzy, but it's just some wee like stick people, so like running. So one of the things that I remember the most sort of growing up was the time that I spent at Run Club with my dad, so doing quite a bit of cross country running. So super important to me. One, he's a very influential man in my life, and inspires me. The time we spent together was just special because it was just me and him. My brother never came. why we were in a big group, we would often run off and have just time running together. And I think ultimately it was just like a really great role model. And as like what I loved about that now is that continued into who I am as an adult, what I do for exercise now, and then what I also do with my own children. And I also coach in the community. So I'm a rugby coach. A lot of what I've got or learned from him, I've taken into who I am as a coach as well.
That'll be awesome. I really appreciate that. And what a cool experience to have with your papa too, like your dad. That's like quite awesome. And the transferable in that skills, eh?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I really appreciate you opening up and sharing with us. Kia ora, Liz. All right. We'll go opposite. We'll go Kerry, and then we'll go with you, Graham, and then cool.
Oh, sorry. For me, it was playing football with friends. I remember high school, and it was always a fun experience, and making sure I was with my friends. And I guess that kind of comes in through because I coach a girls' cricket team, and part of the thing is that I make sure they're there with their friends and they're having fun. So it's about the social atmosphere for them.
Yeah. Especially like young wahine, eh? That's really important.
Yeah, definitely.
In those developmental years.
Can
make or break some young people. Yeah. Cool. Kia ora, Kerry. Thank you so much for sharing. Cool. Graham.
This is going back a bit. So, but for me, growing up in England, big football person, still am. I was fortunate that in England having like a break between terms, and then at the end of term there was always football camps on. So you'd have the opportunity to basically play football all day, play in sort of World Cup tournaments, and they had a skill scheme, the Football Association skill scheme, so you could try and reach the highest level. I wouldn't necessarily, looking back at the skills they were trying to get you to do, it doesn't really link with football, but anyway, that's by the by. And finally, I guess they had, I always kind of remember they had football quizzes, and I was a bit of a football nerd, so I generally do pretty well in the quizzes. So kind of the combination of challenge, just playing games, and also that kind of side thing at lunchtime, being able to, show your knowledge and stuff as well. So
cool. That's awesome. Sounds like there's lots of engagement within that little time period. But also cool to see that there's like physical skills that young people get into, but also that intellectual space too, because people might participate in different ways. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I also drew something very stick figure. Can't see it, but it's a basketball hoop. Oh, it actually kind of looks like it. Oh no, basketball hoop. But I just remember who was important to me at that time was my coach. Like anything my coach said, I would kind of believe, because they were the person that I looked up to at that time. But I just remember this one training, and I wasn't feeling like too well in myself and my skills, and they just spoke words of belief. That's one of the words I wrote down into me. And I was just like, actually, I can do this, And then, so then from that time on, anytime I'm in a situation regarding like physical exercise, I'm like, I can't do it. I kind of always go back to that coach and the words that they say to me. So, and every time I see them as well, it's like reconnecting, like an old friend type thing. And no matter what age or when I see them, they're always saying that same stuff too. So it doesn't end just in that moment. It's always this connection. So thought I'd just quickly share that kōrero too. I don't know if Matthew have it. Matthew, have anything you wanted to add? Actually, he might just be like, oh yeah.
Well, my background is basketball as well. So I did a basketball hoop. I got into it when I was probably about 13, and I enjoyed it because I was with friends. The things I wrote down, I was good at it immediately. It was a sport that I was just a natural at. And I wrote down positive coaching engagement. So those are the good memories. And I remember the stadium we were in, and all of those things. So
awesome, man. This is like throwing me back, and like all those feelings of like, just pureness is coming back. And so I really appreciate everyone's time to go through that. We're going to put a bit of a halt on that. Don't throw your papers away. We're going to need them in a little wee while. But let's actually jump into what even is Mana Taiohi. other than Graham and Matthew, have you, Liz or Kerry, heard of Mana Taiohi? Oh, cool, ka pai. Sweet. Any questions, just we'll go, I welcome them. But I might throw it over to Graham to talk. Nah, jokes. I'm kidding. I won't throw you under the bus like that, friend. But before we get into what the principles look like, there's a bit of a whakapapa because youth development has been around for a long time. And before Mana Taiohi, there was something called YDSA, which was the Youth Development Strategy, which was all based on literature from overseas, right? So we had all this research informing how we practice here in Aotearoa. And then there was some kōrero and I think the need to be able to actually, how do we contextualize this to Aotearoa? Through that, Ara Taiohi, along with lots of other of our friends, went on a bit of a roadshow through Aotearoa, going to young people themselves, going to people who work with young people, kaimahi Māori, and also Pacifica people, to be like, what do you want to see? Well, how do you want to be represented within these principles? So that took a while, obviously. Going anywhere to get research and information and from people can take a while. But from that was how the 9 principles of Mana Taiohi came to be. So as you can see, this is just one diagram. If you go onto our website, there's a few different ones we use, but this is the one I like the most to share about how it's split up. So there's 9 principles of Mana Taiohi, and mana is the overarching principle. Just recognizing that everyone has their own awesomeness and mana, and that's the one that encapsulates all of these principles. All of them are also in Te Reo Māori, and then they do have like blurbs, supporting paragraphs to help deeper understand. But today I'm not going to be able to tell you the principles and tell you exactly what they mean. That is a bit of a journey that whānau need to go on to be able to know what it means for them. How Mana Taiohi is split up in the context that we talk about is there's 4 principles in the middle. So if you see here, we've got Māori, whakapapa, hononga, and te ao. So we divide that up as what young people have, the mana that they have already. We know that they've got Māori. What is their life spark? What is it about them that makes them go, pew? Do they know that yet? Or do they just need some help discovering that? What is their whakapapa? Where are they from? How do they connect to it? Are they where they're from? Or are they a bit disconnected? What connections and hononga do they have? How does the connections within their sports team or within their schools, within their whānau? And then similar to hononga, we've got te ao. And that's just taking a wide approach view of young people and what's in their world. And just being realistic about young people's worlds and the things that make up who they are. So that's what we talk about as the mana that young people have. We cannot give them any of those. They come with that. Each person comes with that. But it's just up to us to recognize the awesomeness in there. And then the 4 principles around the outside within these kōrero patterns are how the youth development sector can support what's on the inside. So you can kind of see we're kind of creating a bit of a little huddle, and that's through whanaungatanga. So connecting with young people, getting to know them. That can be as simple as what we did before, or it could be, let's play a game of duck, duck, goose. I don't know if young people still like that, but yeah. Any of those types of things, just forming genuine relationships with Taiohi. If we come down to the bottom right, we've got manaakitanga, which I think most of us might have heard and experience or know how to do as well. But essentially, how do we make people feel comfortable? How do we make them feel heard? That could be a cup of tea. They might have told you, my favorite biscuit's Tim Tams, and like next session you're like, cool, I got some Tim Tams. But it can also look like making sure young people feel like they can come to you when they need to. So manaakitanga is just being able to create that safe space for people. If we shoot up to the top left corner, so mātauranga, this one's massive. Translated, mātauranga loosely translates to information and knowledge. And so how do you make sure young people have access to good knowledge? Is the knowledge that you're sharing with them accessible? Are we using the biggest words? in the vocab, and not the vocab, the dictionary? Or can we actually just mince it down a little bit and actually be like, this is really what I'm trying to say? How is the information accessible to young people? And then not that I have favourites, but one of my favourites is whai wāhitanga. So it's a new kupu that we were gifted from one of our kaumātua, but essentially it translates to young people chasing their space. Ara Taiohi, as the youth development sector, we would love to see young people being able to take leadership and autonomy over the things that affect them, whether that's leading the warm-ups at the trainings, whether it's them participating but offering their ideas, because we recognise that also not all young people want to be up on the stage talking to everyone. But yeah, those were just my quick hot takes of Mana Taiohi. As I mentioned, there is no one definition for each of these kupu, but I do really encourage you to go on a journey to discover how do you connect to these principles. But yeah, any questions at the moment? No? Nowhere. Cool. Sweet. All right. So what we might do now is thinking back to this experience we had when we were a young person, knowing just quickly what I spoke about, and the knowledge you have of Mana Taiohi and these kupu, you might know them before Mana Taiohi. How does that connect to that experience you had? So just take some time. We could probably go a couple minutes. You could even write the principles that you're like, yep, this was that. This is what I felt. I felt manaki. Or they really tried to create connections with me. So that's whanaungatanga. How does Mana Taiohi connect to that experience? Just give you some time. Cool. All right, Matthew. I don't know if you wanted to jump in for this part too, but I also don't want to exclude you for the conversations. Did you want to start us off this time?
Right. I guess the two things that resonated with me is, because I'm talking about this particular situation, I was drawn to Wi-Fi Tahi, Wi-Fi.
Whai wāhitanga?
Yeah.
Yes, ka whai.
Because in a sense, I was a bit of a show-off, probably. And it was a skill, like I said earlier, that I was just a natural at. It seemed to be in there. So I was able to express it quickly, and it was joyful. So that's what I was trying to.
Yeah, no, that's real. And that's cool to recognise that actually that's part of your modi as well. Like you might have enjoyed actually being a little bit at the front, which is cool. There's nothing to be ashamed about. But then it's also cool that your coach or the team and stuff like recognised that and was able to allow you to do that. Because yes, I know that for my little brother, if he was in your situation, he'd be like, cool, put me in the back. I'm gonna be at the back. I'll be on the bench left, right, out, or whatever it is, just being there to support. So cool. Kia ora, Matthew. Thank you. All right, we'll flick it over to you, Kerry. How was that second part connecting them?
I guess I was thinking more that connection with my friends and the social groups that I had there. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Sweet, that's cool. So the whanaungatanga and the relationships that you got to create with the friends and the people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's a really good one to bring up, because being able to establish or create genuine connections then can allow for the rest to blossom, because you can't just do that off the whim without being like, yeah, who are you? That's not really a safe way to practice. So that's cool. Nice. Kia ora, Kerry. Graham, what's happening in your head?
Yeah, I think looking back, it might be a case of, say, for football camps and stuff, or, you know, say for Liz and for Kerry, when you've got kids turning up to events with basketball, cricket, you know, for football, kids wear all sorts of football tops, so you get to kind of find out, like, oh, you support this team. Sometimes you find out they don't support the team, they just like the sponsor, which is a weird one for me, but never mind. You kind of get an idea of who they like, and maybe it might have a Caitlin Clark on the back of their top or a Susie Bates, and you kind of go, next time you could be go, hey, you love, oh, this is what Susie Bates might do, or Caitlin Clark, or so you kind of have a connection with the kid. Go, oh, that kid knows that you remember the team they support or the player they look up to, and then perhaps bring that, hey, that looked really cool, look like Susie Bates or whatever. So they kind of go, oh, they've taken an interest in me, and that's possibly what. I don't remember that far back, but that's probably how I would approach it. You'd be like, you see the kids, and you might just have a bit of banter with them, like, you know, their teams. You might not think their team's particularly good, and if you feel the kid feels comfortable with you, you might have some banter around that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Awesome, appreciate that, and cool to see you like looking at it from how I would engage into those, how you would engage into those situations. Because it's like a next level of manaakitanga too, just picking up on those little things. Oh, you wore Sean Johnson. Sorry, I don't know footballers. So Sean Johnson jersey, and so I know now, you know, you might like Sean Johnson. Cool. We're going to get him to speak. No, kidding. But yeah, this is what, I don't know, Sean Johnson drew or something like that too. So appreciate the thoughts of Mana Taiohi within the things that you're thinking about that time. Graham? And you, Liz, how was that for you?
Yeah, I guess for me, the big one is the whanaungatanga, like just the relationship that I kind of had with my dad. And I think just, knowing that real sense of belonging, and that I was important in my dad's life, but he was also important in mine. So I think that was really massive and shone through as you kind of spoke. I was trying to like figure out how like everything else kind of like fitted in, and you know, sort of different aspects kind of provoked different thoughts. But is it the mātauranga? In terms of like my dad like loves to know intricate details in and outs. He'll do a lot of research, and just kind of reflecting back on what he's taught me and different stuff and tips and tricks when it came to kind of running and bits and pieces, is that he's always like filled me with like knowledge, and if he doesn't know it, he's always like worked to find it. So I kind of felt like maybe that fits in a bit as well.
Yeah, that for sure. That's an awesome reflection to have, like, and recognizing that sometimes people might not have all the things, be like, this is the answer, but I'm gonna help you find the answer. Like that's also connected to manaakitanga, because you're wanting that person to be able to have the answer, and that's really awesome. Cool. Yeah, and I think it's also cool to recognize that we might have thought just about one principle that really stood out, but recognizing that most of them are all interconnected, even if it's not the most prominent one we thought about. Without whanaungatanga, you can't then have manaakitanga. Without manaakitanga, then you might not be able to have mātauranga. So we do call these interconnected principles. Sometimes organizations or people have gone to be like, cool, I'm just going to take whanaungatanga and forget about the rest. But actually, that isn't true whanaungatanga, because what is connecting without genuine care? It's just tokenism, or it's just doing it for a tick box. So yeah, if that's one thing to take away from today, whānau, it's that all of these principles are interconnected and holistic. I think it might be obvious, but I forgot to mention that they are all based off Te Ao Māori principles as well, so Indigenous knowledge, which is beneficial for all whānau. So hopefully, even if you're not Māori or young people aren't Māori, this can still support any person. Which takes me into my next phase. We were going to watch a video, but I'm going to skip Ilala. We'll save that for the next time if he's ever come to a Mana Taiohi Wānanga. I'm going to skip. He's got a bit of a sneak peek. But essentially to what this title of the webinar is today. And so when I was thinking of a title, I was like, okay, what does Mana Taiohi do? And for me, Mana Taiohi equals meaningful engagement. Mana Taiohi can also be, the Taiohi part can be switched out, if that makes sense. I think some people get real fixated that this is only for youth, but you could put the word tangata in there, so person, people. Mana tangata. Actually, this is how I can just be an awesome human to myself, to my friends, to my colleagues. You can apply the same for kaumātua, you can apply the same for tangata whaikaha. If you work within the disability sector, within the ASD sector, young women and wahine as well, you can put mana wahine in there. Boom. Like, if that helps people then be able to connect to it, then that's something as well. Because that's what we've, if I'm being honest, that's what we've come up against. Some people be like, I don't work with Taiohi. And then it's like, okay, sweet, we've got to go back a few steps. And actually, this is a one-on-one of being a good human. All of these principles make up how can we be solid people. So that's what I thought about when I was trying to think of a title. And for me, yep, Mana Taiohi is meaningful engagement with Taiohi. And Mana Taiohi can be used as a guiding principles to support that engagement. So unfortunately, I can't tell you to be like, yep, go do manaakitanga, straight after that whanautanga, da-da-da. We've given the ingredients, Mana Taiohi is the ingredients, and you then have to come up with the recipe. How does it work for your young people within your space? You know your young people. Yeah, and so that's also just a bit of a disclaimer, is that, yeah, from this you won't be able to be like, yes, they've given me everything I need, but hopefully you've got the thoughts and the resource to be able to go and unlock those conversations with your Taiohi, with your workmates too. Yeah. Any questions about that part? No? Cool. Love it. Love it. Love it. What I did want to talk about, I think when Matthew hit me up to have a kōrero, was just like some highlights of youth development. Not too sure if any of you have been a part of the youth development world officially or in previous roles, but essentially I'm just going to speak a little bit about what highlights for me. So within my space at Aotearoa, I feel like some highlights for me is being a young person working within an organisation. So a lot of the times I'll go now and be like, yeah, listen to young people, and then I'm reflecting and like, actually, I'm still a young person right now myself as well. So how are these, how is Mana Taiohi being applied to me within my organisation, but also how am I helping other organisations to apply it as well? And so really appreciate the opportunities to be able to be in this workspace. Few things that highlights my other work, so working directly with young people, is it's just so cool working with Taiohi. Like, I actually love working with young people. I was a PT like maybe a few years back, and I was supporting just anyone at the gym, but then I just really missed working with young people, and that sense of I don't know, just like love and aroha to be able to have the privilege to do that work too. I think highlights as well is that it is quite a flexible working space, and you can be able to use your passions and skills and niche to be able to work with Taiohi. So you can mix. If I was really into gaming, then I could be a youth worker, and then I could run a gaming thingy. What is it? Like, yeah, a gaming group for young people, or teach them how to code if I knew that mātauranga. So I love the fact that it can be really versatile and suiting to what young people's needs. I also just want to mention that there's so much opportunities within the youth development sector for young people to get into this work field, but also for them to then share their mātauranga of what they've learned within them. And with all the highlights, it also does come with those lowlights as well, especially within this current climate we're in, this government climate that we're in. A lot of youth development spaces have like cut funding, so it's also trying to be innovative. How do we still support our young people, because we know the needs aren't leaving? It's just the putia kind of isn't lining up. But yeah, I feel like those were just a few quick ones that I just wanted to share because it's the realities right now of our sector, and probably the sectors that you are in as well, whānau, is that we're trying to support and advocate for young people, so then they don't feel like they have to do that like on their own as well. But yeah, has anyone ever thought that they've been a part of the youth development sector or said that they are? No. Well, now you have graduated, no jokes. Now you can, because like actually we do encourage coaches that work with young women and wahine in sports, coaches that support young tāne. Like, yeah, I so recommend jumping onto our website. We also, we're coming down to Ōtautahi next year, Liz, for our youth health conference called Evolve, where we just bring together the youth development sector. And then, yeah, we're having a bit of a conference. I think it's going to be at that really nice big conference place in the city. I forgot what it's called. It's like lost my brain. But yeah, have a look on the website. If you are really interested to get more into the youth development side of things as well. I'm going to move on because it's like 12:44. I wanted to talk about Mana Taiohi in action. So we hold these wānanga, we go support people through the Sport NZ contract that we have at the moment and that we had last 3 years was to support RST, so Regional Sports Trust, to embed Mana Taiohi. And I'm going to use Nukuora as an example as to what Mana Taiohi can look like. So on the screen, there's 3 different actions from Nukuora's Mana Taiohi action plan. So there's obviously lots of different teams within their organisation, and essentially what they've done is created a bit of a roadmap from this blurb, this paragraph, on where they see the gaps are with Mana Taiohi, and then how they can support those gaps. So what do they need to do? Is it more upskilling? Is it more trainings? And you can see at the bottom green one, so there's even a senior leadership team section. So the senior leadership team as well at Nukuora as a team are working on how can they support and embed Mana Taiohi within their organisation, even though they're not the ones probably going out into schools and providing health, like providing sports and activities. But they also might have Taiohi within their organisation. So how can they make sure that their organisation is supporting youth? But yeah, just wanted to bring that up and say that Mana Taiohi is an action in some organisations. Nukuora is one of them, and a few other RSTs as well, and that it can be tangibly applied. Oh, skip. Yeah, before we wrap up and get into some partai or any of that, I thought I'd just jot down a few things on how Mana Taiohi can be activated. Cool. So activation can look different to many people, but essentially the biggest thing that we find when we're delivering Mana Taiohi is it's not just a work shift, like what you have to do in work. It's actually a journey and a like cultural way of being shift for some people. So it's not like a cool, I came to Māori's kōrero for an hour, let's go. But I hope you feel like that. But it actually is the continuing to be better. And how can we be better coaches? How can we be better sisters? How can we be better friends? And ready to be open. The second part is just have kōrero with your community. Like now that you've been exposed to it, the website's there, Aotearoa's there, Nukuora's there as well. Just be like, actually, can I come in and talk to you about Mana Taiohi? I'm sure they'll be keen. You'll have to check in with them first. I don't want to say, yep, go. But even get in contact with Aotearoa if this is something that you want to further upskill in, but just have conversations. I did also want to put the disclaimer in that there's no right way to embed Mana Taiohi. Don't think that you have to do it one way, but it does need to embody the principles. You can't just do that over there without physically doing it for it as well. So making sure there's a good balance and it's culturally, there's a word, but yeah, it's culturally pai too. And I just wanted also activating it is probably just telling people that it's something that can support any role as well. We're just going to get to that mind shift that I'm an accounts person It doesn't include me, or I'm media, doesn't include me. Like, actually, it can support any role, whether you're in front of the young person or you're 10 steps removed. A lot of the times funders also say that too, but it's like actually people that are funding or in charge of where the pūtea goes, they have obviously the biggest role within Mana Taiohi, because they need to be able to put those in the right people's place, right hands of people, so they can deliver what they need to deliver. But yeah, that is. Any questions? It's totally okay if not. I've just got one little thing left. One tiny thing. Cool. Okay, I've spoken so much, too much. And what I thought I'd do for a closing activity would just be, just for you, you don't have to share this as well, but feel free to if you want to. Just have a think, what is one way you are going to activate Mana Taiohi after today? Could be, yeah, what is one way? So just take some time, jot it down somewhere. I would love for you to jot it down, whether it's on your piece of paper or in your notes, if you're like me and have like 500 notes. But yeah, just something, whether it's, I want to go look at the Mana Taiohi website. Graham?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because I've had background on this, so I don't need to take too much time to think it through, because I've already got it in my head. I mean, on Thursday there is a Mana Taiohi training taking place in Wellington, so we've got a number of coaches and coach developers involved. And I think for, say, Liz and Kerry, from my perspective, it's around how, like, if you've got coaches and you're going, like, you know, I've literally got a friend I was away with a couple of weekends ago, and he's been involved coaching hockey this year. I didn't know he was, otherwise I would have tried to at least have a conversation with him. But it's like getting him to think about getting to know the girls, and I don't know if he did or didn't, but know the girls, find out a bit more about them, how he could involve them in leading things, and how this sort of stuff ties into it. But being conscious that, you know, if you go, right, go and look at this sort of stuff, it's another thing they're trying to, if they're a newbie coach or just taking it as a parent, like going, oh, geez, another thing to look at. But it's more like a case of, hey, if you know, when you're meeting with a group of girls or guys for the first time, you're getting to know, taking the time to understand them, give them the sense of belonging, rather than going, oh shit, I need to teach them how to play that sport all season, or not find out what they want to do with the season. So it's more just, it's kind of like, I guess, marrying up this sort of stuff and saying, well, you're going to be coaching a team. This sort of stuff is kind of already part and parcel of what you should be doing as a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great reflection, because I think a lot of the time, like, capacity also comes into play with this, because they're like, actually, I don't have capacity to do that, or like engage with them. But you're right, some of it should be part and parcel of how we deliver, like, especially within the physical health space, like creating genuine connections for them to then be able to play well or to have better outcomes, like, because that's essentially why we're in the work that we do. Is we want them to be able to win potentially, but also it's just about creating awesome individuals within themselves. So I really appreciate you bringing up that point, that actually some of it should be part and parcel of what we do, but it also shouldn't be looked at as like another thing on top, more as if this is your plate and it's full, Mana Taiohi can, like, hopefully double the size of the plate, so then you can be able to have some room for the things you're leading. Cool. And hopefully they'll be there on Thursday. Cool. Awesome. Liz or Kerry?
Just for me in particular, our priority for 2025. So we currently have an offering in a program called Girls Got Game, and it's been predominantly focused on kind of the years like 1 through to 8. So massively know that there's a massive drop off in girls participating in sports, especially in the secondary girls space. That's our next target audience. So at the moment, it's just trying to, like, gather up everything we can to make sure that as we kind of fundamentally grow this space, we do it right, and we make sure that we've got everything we have put in place to make sure it's successful, and that we can kind of approach the youth and that girls that kind of sit in not only secondary school, but even the transition out of secondary school into, like, adulthood is another massive drop off. Is that how do we, I think, make sure that our environments and what we're offering in terms of basketball like meet the needs of our participants. So like for me, it's I'm going to go back and kind of share this with the rest of my team and add this into our massive like brainstorm of thinking and how we can kind of like make sure that we are taking the right steps forward. And that it doesn't just become tokenism and we're kind of ticking boxes as we go, that fundamentally like we want the approach to be right. So this is awesome.
It's awesome. Like that's awesome as to hear the thoughts and how it can merge in with things. Because Mana Taiohi doesn't have to be the overarching thing you're following, but as long as it's within there, like super happy, because it's about the engagement first of all, like first and foremost. As long as young people are feeling heard, seen, all of that stuff, that's me. So awesome, man. Feel free to like also hit us up, or if you have any questions, just contact Aotearoa. I'll be happy as to help in any sort of way, especially
awesome.
with
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. All good. Thank you, Kerry.
Sorry, forgive me. It's a bit noisy here, so hopefully you can't hear it. I was just thinking, for me, I'm fairly new in my role, and so it's kind of like just I was just looking at your website and kind of looking at all your resources and trying to get headspace and see where it all fits. But I know you have champions around all the areas. Do you know what about in Otago area? I can't.
Yes. So we have champions. We had champions because it was part of the partnership that we previously had. But there's still champions, like in my eyes, because they've been through that program with us. It was a 2-year program to support them to embed it. And in Otago, we don't have one because it was also an opt-in for RSTs. So RSTs could opt in or not. But Sport Canterbury are one of the champions that were part of that journey. So they've heard Mana Taiohi, but it also is dependent on the people that are still there, because sometimes people move on from roles and then whatnot. But at any point, if you feel like you're keen for more information, just feel free to reach out to myself. Maybe Matthew can send out my email, because that's essentially what we're working on with Ihi Aotearoa as well. We are specific in this active rec space we've been in for 3 years, but we're also really interested about how Mana Taiohi can look in the sport world, in your worlds, through cricket, basketball, football, all of that coaching, because sport is a whole nother ball game to try and infiltrate and to support. So and that's what this wānanga on Thursday. So we're having one Thursday. We're also coming down. We're doing one in Ōtautahi next year, April the 8th, Liz. So Sport Canterbury will be sending out the registration link. So maybe even just jump on their mailing list. And then for Otago, I don't know where exactly. Ōtepoti, did you say, Kerry? I don't know if that's far from Christchurch. I have my geography.
Was it 3.5, 4 hours away?
Oh shit! But we're doing one in Ōtautahi too. If that was something like you or some of your teammates, could get to. But this training is tailored to the sport and active rec sector. So there will be activities similar to what we did today, specifically around sport and active rec. Because all of our trainings were youth development lens, because that's where we work. So like youth worker, case workers, all of those. But we're trying to come through with this approach of actually how does sport and rec fit into that. So those are happening. And if you've got mates, you just jump on maybe the Sport NZ mailing list as well, because we're doing one in Tāmaki, in Whangarei and Hawke's Bay. So if you did have teammates as well, why am I saying teammates as if you're on like sports team, workmates that are in those areas that can get to as well. So that's cool. So jump on the Sport NZ mailing list or just flick us an email. But that's real cool. Appreciate everything. And it's 3 minutes up. And if no one has any other questions, or for everyone,
I'd just like to say kia ora. Ngā mihi was, as Maarie has said a couple of times, Nuku Ora has been fully involved in this process over the last couple of years. And just from my own personal point of view, I don't know if Maarie remembers this, but when we did a wānanga, I came over and I spoke to her as a representative of the gold card generation, that I didn't know that I had much to contribute here, but the session had opened up my heart basically to being understanding and more compassionate and open to working in that space. And I just wanted to express my thanks to Maarie, and I think again today I've been warmed by your passion and your enthusiasm about it. So ngā mihi. And to the other three, thanks for coming on. I know we're all busy at these sort of times, and I appreciate seeing you here. We will record this and put it up onto our website probably in the next week or so after we do a little bit of editing. But moving forward, I'd just like to say Muri Kera Mete for everybody. Christmas is just around the corner. So everybody, let's hope you enjoy it and have a nice break. Thank you.
Awesome. Kia ora, Matthew. And kia ora whānau. Kia pai te toinga o tō rā. Have the best rest of your day.
Thanks, Maarie.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
No worries. Ka kite.